Okay, we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the April edition of Discord Demo Day. Just for context, if you're listening to that countdown music, that is Silent Bexy's Light in the Darkness. That was a vinyl that we released on Manjumasi back in 2020. We just released it on digital last week. Silet is a Ukrainian artist, and we wanted to keep that one vinyl exclusive, but we wanted to find other ways to support Ukraine. So we released that on digital. So go pick that up if you want to support him. It's a record that I absolutely love and played a bunch. And a little bit about me, if you haven't tuned in before, my name is Atish. I'm a DJ, producer, label manager, and artist mentor. I'm based in New York City. And the label I run is called Manjumasi, as I mentioned. I run a artist mentorship program through Patreon at patreon.com/Atish Music. And this is Discord Demo Day. And the goal of this live stream is for you, anyone in the community, to submit your demos to me and my guest host, and we'll just review some demos, give some feedback, and hopefully help you on your journey. I think over the last year I've been doing this. It's also a great A&R opportunity. I've probably seen 5 or 6 or 7 tracks actually get signed on the spot by some of my guests and their labels. And we actually just signed one of the demos to my own label, Manjumasi. So it's a fun thing to do. And thanks everyone for tuning in. So enough about me. I'm very, very excited about this month's guest. She is someone who's had a massive impact on the underground dance music scene through Mobley Records. I think in the heyday, from 2005 over the next decade, Mobley was at the top of the world. And beyond Mobley Records, she's an incredible DJ. She's an incredible producer, very shrewd business person, and just an all-around wonderful person. So, without further ado, I'd like to welcome Anja Schneider. Hi, Anja. Welcome to the stream.
Hello, hi, Atish. Hello, all. Hello, community. Hi, hi.
How are you doing, Anja?
Very good, very nice. And I just been really relaxed because I just returned from holiday with the family. I went to the mountains, and I'm just here and even overslept this day almost because I thought it's this afternoon, and then no, it's tonight. So at 9 o'clock is normally my bedtime now because I came from holiday. No, but it's wonderful to be here. I'm really looking forward. So hello.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and the rest of the community appreciates it. And I know you're a busy person spinning a lot of plates, so your time is dearly appreciated. So I want to start with the question I start with all the guests because we had a giant global event that has affected culture in many ways and especially affected our industry. How has the pandemic affected you as far as in relation to your artist career and your artistry?
Of course, it's affected me like everyone else. You had no gigs, and suddenly your life changed completely from 100 to 0, which was in the beginning quite difficult, even for my mental health. And because my time was always scheduled, and suddenly you were standing there for a black hole, there was nothing scheduled, and no one known before how long this is going to affect us or what it even is. So this was quite difficult, and of course it was quite difficult to manage your time because suddenly no one else was managing this, and you had to spend time with your family, with your friends, and even with yourself, which was quite a challenge. But after 3 months of going to dark holes, it was really good. And I enjoyed actually quite a lot of this free time. I spent a lot of time in the studio. Of course, I was questioned a lot about my way, how I want to be and be back, and if I'm really ready to continue my DJ lifestyle as it was before. It was quite important for me to really refresh and to overthinking everything. And of course,
Mhm.
I started also to listen to different music. I started to produce a little bit more different music, getting more breaky, getting more uh, slower, and because there was no dance floor open, so this was quite really important for me. Yes.
Excellent. And sorry, excuse me.
It's the
Um,
beer.
yeah, I got started on a beer a little bit too quickly there. Um, yeah, I think this has been the common thing that I've seen with myself and many of my guests. It's just been a good reflection moment, recalibration, and prioritize what's important. Take a chance to recharge and and explore
Mm.
new places musically and also just in life in general. Take up new hobbies and things like that. So,
Yeah. What was your new hobby?
fatherhood.
Okay. This is not a hobby, actually.
I
This
know.
is a lifetime goal.
Cooking. I actually never really got into cooking, and that's the new thing that I started doing a little bit.
But some
So
people saying cooking is like DJing, you know? You always have to make a little bit of this, and then in the end, you have, like, a fantastic dish, a meal. So,
absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, maybe it's yeah, and I see that there's a lot of DJs who are really into food. Like Seth Troxler, DJ Tennis, and all this. So
of
yeah.
course.
So let's jump into. I want to talk about Mobley a little bit, and I touched on this at the beginning. For me personally, and I think a huge section of the underground dance music scene. Mobley Records was incredibly influential. It was, in my opinion, I think it was the top of the game. I run
Yeah.
a label myself, so it's always very interesting, to hear, the label, another label manager's mindset when doing that. What was the strategy of Mobley, from the beginning? Were you intending it to become
Mm.
what it actually was? How did it become what it was?
Probably, the secret was that there was no plan and no marketing business, that it was just done because, I loved music and my partner loved music, and we were just want to do something, and we didn't had a marketing strategy, we didn't had a plan, we were just, music lovers, and this was maybe probably the biggest secret of it and why it was in the end so successful, because it was like a family project then, because everyone had the same love and passion for
Mhm,
music. We had no idea what we were doing. We were just wanted to do something, and we wanted to have our music out, and this was wonderful that so many people liked it, and that suddenly so many careers go out of the artist who were releasing on Mobile. This was
mhm,
like fantastic. And then of course it after all these years you had to had a plan. You had suddenly more people working for you. It
mhm,
was like a business thing. What for me was a little bit too much. So I was questioning a lot of things, and I had a feeling I lost doing all this pressure. Also, when you have like you're responsible for people that have to they have to work for you. You are responsible for their life, especially things like this. This was for me a little bit too much pressure, and I
mhm,
had the feeling I'm losing a little bit the creativity, and I'm losing the passion for music, to do music, to feel
mhm,
free again. And so this is why I'm in the end um, leaving Mobile. So
mhm,
and to
mhm.
start over, and to want to feel free again with all my things around me, and just like music and nothing else.
Sure, and I think you already answered my next question, which is, you founded Seuss Music in 2017,
17, yes. Mhm.
and I think you already answered this, but how has your approach to the way that you run Seuss
Mm.
changed in the way that you were, let's say, working on Mobley in the end?
Of course, it's difficult because 2017 is already a different time than 2005 when we
Mhm,
started Mobile without all the social media and even
mhm,
cameras in our phones and stuff like this. Of course, there was some few, but not like it is today, and a special social media pressure. So, but I try to make everything a little bit more, um, yeah, controlled by myself, not
mhm,
like plans, and it's yeah, it's quite difficult, but so I never can do it like I started with Mobile, of course,
mhm,
because the times were different. But I try to feel free and allow myself a lot of time, allow myself a lot of craziness in music, in creativity, also make breaks, not to take every gig because you have to run this label, you know. So I wanted to be a little bit more Anja again and
mhm,
find
mhm.
myself. And I lost this over this. This is probably something what you're doing when you're so long in the business. Sometimes you're losing your way, you know. You're always like, "Oh, okay," because so much people then telling you what you have to do
Sure.
that you're losing your own way. And I just wanted to refresh everything and put everything on zero without knowing that 4 years later there's a point of zero.
Sure. This is I have so many follow-on questions, but you already got to what I think is a really interesting thing to explore, which is the idea of losing your way.
Mm.
Um I assume this is something that just kind of happens gradually over time and maybe you don't immediately know it's happening, or what was the moment when you said, "Okay, like it's time for this reset, or
Mhm.
I need to take a refresh from it, because I imagine it's very hard, because when you have the tension between, let's say, maybe the more commercial success or the machine or the things going well, but you don't have the personal satisfaction. Was it
Mhm.
difficult to kind of pull away and say, I have this stability of what's working?
Yeah, because I lost a little bit my creative, satisfaction, so I had no idea which way I'm going, which I am. I was a little bit lost musical-wise,
Hmm.
and then, of course, me and my partner, Ralph, which is still a friend, a very good friend, and I knew, okay, I want to keep him as a friend, but
Hmm.
I think we have not the same vision anymore, which happens, it happens everywhere. So, it was for me better to step away from Mobile and start over, and actually, I had to find my own ways and creativity and my own music again, because I lost it a little bit. With Mobile in the beginning, we did just what we wanted, and someone put a label on it, was called minimal, and I had no idea that I was minimal, because I just so and then suddenly there's other labels, and always the pressure to have like success, and you have to sell records, and yeah, so I I was actually losing my own, feeling for music, and this I had to reset.
How did you go about finding, so once you made that decision, that saying, okay, I need to make a reset, what was the actual process of figuring out what it is that you want to do? Was
Mm.
it, you know
This also took some time. It was not directly something what I found, but I knew I had to stop this and to give myself some time to think it over, and to think it over about my musical career, where I wanna go, which I actually I had no idea which music I was loving. Sometimes, I mean, today we are talking about demos, and I was listening to music completely like, and had some structures in my mind. Oh man, this is not fitting to Mobile. This is would be not selling. And this was thoughts I didn't like. I just wanted to listen to music, and especially
Mhm.
to demos, and say, wow, this touches me somehow. And I had a feeling I lost this.
Mhm.
And of course, it was not directly I step away and find my new way. It's still like I'm still in the process, and it took also 1, 2 years to find this again. But now I'm on a really good way, and I'm really enjoying music again.
Excellent.
And yeah, it was sometimes you come to this point.
Yeah. There's an interesting thing that I haven't been doing this as long as you, but there's this phrase that I use, which is artistic innocence.
Mhm,
When you're just starting out in your
mhm,
career, or even if you're just doing it as a hobby, let's say you have a day job and maybe you're playing a gig once every few months, or you're producing tracks and not releasing them. There's this artistic innocence or even artistic freedom where you can explore and do whatever you want to do, without any real cost if people don't
mhm.
like it.
Yeah.
And that's such a beautiful, fertile time to really explore and fall in love with what you're doing. And then as the career moves forward, promoters are booking you, maybe expecting you to play a certain
Mm.
sound. Maybe you have a manager and you have a booking agent
Of
who,
course.
you want to make sure they get paid, or they might drop you, or this kind of thing. And
Mhm,
so maybe you have a family to feed. Maybe you have, like you said, if you have a label team and you now have a staff, maybe there's the pressure to release a record that does well commercially,
mhm.
because you want to support them.
Of course.
So um, it's for for anyone tuning in right now, if you're at the beginning of your career,
Enjoy.
really, really appreciate this time. And but to the same end, as Anya, as you've discovered, it's not all bad as you go further. I mean, there's
Mhm.
there's always room to rediscover it and stay in touch with that.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely. Also, I don't know if remember this time when we just went to a party and enjoying the music. Because when you now, as a professional DJ, go on a party, it's always you always have your head full of thoughts. Or what he or she is playing. I know this song. Oh, this mix was not good, and
oh
she's playing
yeah,
it too slow for this time or too hard.
I
You know,
know.
I hate it. I just want to go and I don't even care who's playing. I just enjoy the music.
Yes, yeah, you're speaking words that completely resonate. It's kind of like, the man behind the curtain, like in The Wizard of Oz. It's been revealed, and now you're just thinking about how it all works rather than how it feels.
Yeah.
And it's I'm glad that you were able to tap back into that. So so congrats. Um, so the another word that you mentioned, And again, I'm asking this selfishly because I want to learn from you as much as possible. In this case, particularly as a label manager, what do you use? You describe Mobley as successful. What do you use as a metric? What did you use as a
Mhm.
metric of success for Mobley, and what do you use as a metric of success for Seuss?
As I said, it's really difficult to compare these labels because when we start Mobile, there was also not so many labels like now. If you
Mhm,
now go, for example, to Beatport on a Friday or Monday, you have 25,000 new tracks, and
mhm,
everyone can do a label now, and it's really easy. So the times were absolutely different. But I'm still trying to feel the same like I did in the beginning with Mobile, just not thinking about commercial success or
mhm.
whatever, just feeling about or value your taste or your feelings about the music. And this is for me the most important. And don't listen to all the managers or whatever. This is, you need a strategy for your label. You have to sound like
Mhm.
blah, 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 and the trend is changing. Just do what you love. It's not always easy to just follow what you feel, but this is the biggest advice.
Sure, that
And
sounds
of
great.
course, it's I mean, you need also it's not easy also because it's also expensive to do a label. It's not like anymore that it's, just you doing it because you can pay this from your DJ gigs. No, it's
Yeah.
not like this. It's changed, unfortunately.
Yeah, now the a record label today, in the terms of a DJ career, it's not a avenue to make money. It's considered a marketing expense,
Of course.
basically. To build a brand. And I think my perspective on the label I run with my partner Mark Slee. At Munjimasi, I think one thing we're trying to do to protect ourselves is to say that we don't want to be the next Crosstown, rebels. We don't want to be the next Intervisions,
Mhm,
and that if we disconnect our metric of success from
mhm,
financial reward,
mhm.
maybe that will just make it easier to keep it pure and fun. And the other thing is, which is we were often surprised, which is if we'll have a track and like, oh, this is a bomb. This is going to do
Of
really
course.
well. No one buys it, and then there's a track which is a B-side that we think
Yeah.
like, "We love this. It's interesting, but I don't think people are gonna like this, but we'll still release it." And that has millions of streams,
Mhm.
on Spotify or whatnot. So there's always the unexpected of what you think is gonna be successful by traditional
Mhm.
means, and just go with
And
your gut and enjoy it.
of course, I experience this a lot. And then sometimes also you have this phenomenon when like a label is suddenly very successful, it's of course not cool anymore. To stay
Mhm,
cool, to stay
mhm.
underground is also difficult. I mean, like we can all name a lot of examples where this happened.
Yeah, yeah.
And probably you would not play a successful label record anymore because you also think,
You know, I hate it when I do that. I
yeah,
feel so bad because I have friends who are producers, and I want them all to succeed, and I want them to have Beatport top 10 tracks, and my
I know.
friends who are on labels, I want them to succeed, but then when I see their track, I'm like, "Ooh, I shouldn't play this," and it's like, "Why am I doing this? This is
Yeah,
not fair," right?
I know.
It's a weird thing. One word you mentioned, and we can set aside another hour for this another time because it's a loaded question, maybe, but, what does underground mean?
Yeah,
Sorry.
this is the question we all asking ourselves since years, especially in Berlin. We always think we are so underground, but no one can really explain this. I mean, I think underground is always that you believe that it's honest, that it's authentic, that you didn't buy your slot on the festival, that you didn't buy your top 10 track
Mhm.
or whatever. So, and it's also wonderful to see underground people having success, which is not bad.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
underground is always to be authentic. And we all know the examples where something looks not authentic for us. But it's also great when suddenly some of this underground artists having amazing success, and this is wonderful. But stay authentic. This is
Sure.
the secret.
So underground is more about the intention, not about the outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, perfect. All right. Let's see. I had one thing I was this is a personal thing that I've been dealing with, and I wanted to see if I could draw on your experience, which is, over the pandemic, I hadn't played for about a year, and I haven't shared this publicly, but my last gigs over the last 6 months have been I haven't had a great gig, I would say, in let's say a year and a half. And it got to a point where one of these gigs, a month ago, I was actually in the DJ booth saying like, why am I doing this? Like this isn't fun. I forgot what it feels like to have a great gig. What's the point of this? Um, I'm looking for advice. Have you ever been in one of these, ruts before as a performer, and how did you get through it?
Of course, I mean, not every gig is so super amazing. I don't believe the hype and don't believe the internet for sure.
Mhm.
And of course, we were all in this situation where the club was not full, you didn't sell tickets, the sound
Mhm.
system was terrible. You were playing a slot where you had to play something completely different that you want to. But yeah, I mean, this happens, and I think it was Tiga. He did one time, I think years ago, this amazing post. He was the first
Yeah,
one who talked and
yeah,
made it
yeah.
public, and it happened to all of us. And of course, we were always a little bit shy, also through this social media pressure to say this, And it's you have to have balls to say, "I'm sorry, it was not good," because everyone thinks, "Yeah, yeah, you were not in a good mood, and you
Mhm,
whatever,"
mhm, mhm. Yeah. So, how what do you hold on to mentally? Let's just say you have a string of 4 or 5 months where you just haven't had that great gig.
Mhm.
How do you break out of that mindset, or what do you do, or do you change your mindset, or do you change the way you're playing, or how would you advise someone to kind of deal with
The
something like this?
The most funny thing is there is, even if it's only in one year, this one gig where you're gonna lost your mind in music, and you had these amazing feelings, and you have goosebumps, and you could play for at least 4 hours or whatever. The reaction was terrible, was wonderful, sorry. So, I think this always pays off all the shitty gigs, this one
Yeah,
moment. It's
yeah, yeah,
always
yeah.
with me.
I think that's what I've been telling myself, which is, okay, I have Desert Hearts coming up, in 2 weeks,
Yeah, of
and
course.
I said like, I know this is going to be good,
Mm,
and like this is what I'm hanging on to, and if Desert Hearts isn't good, then okay, let me like step back and reflect. Maybe it's my
mm,
ego, or maybe I need to change.
mm,
But I
mm,
hang on to these things, these markers or these
mm,
guideposts, which I know, like, okay, this, I think this is going to snap me back, or I'm hoping to bring that feeling just to remember, because
mm,
I think also part of it is what actually happens at the gig, but also there's momentum. If you have 2 or 3 really good gigs in a row, I
mm,
think it's easier to get in that mindset for that fourth gig, to
mm.
be like, okay,
Yeah,
because it's not just I'm stating the obvious. DJing isn't just playing tracks and people dancing. It's there is the artistry, and you have to be in the right mindset to be sensitive to what's happening on the dance floor, and the
mhm.
confidence to take those risks too, right?
Yeah, but also sometimes it's also happened the opposite when you have this one gig where you're really looking forward to, which is then not like this good like you expected, and then a shitty club gig where you thought, "Oh my god, okay, I'm doing this, but I'm not so motivated." This turns out it's like a bomb. So it's like always for everyone who goes out. If you plan New Year's Eve, it's almost sometimes really not so good, like a surprise party at your friend's neighborhood or whatever,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
it's always these little moments what keeps us alive, and I love, surprises, so I'm always try
Definitely.
to be positive and not have so much expectation on one gig, or one
Yeah.
festival.
I think that's a fair reality check, which is, what I learned through meditation, which is just live in the moment. It's better
Absolutely.
not to live in the future or live in the past. Whatever happens in that moment, whether it's week over week, even track over track. This is one thing that I've learned and I've advised to some of my mentees is you can have one train wreck mix or one track that clears the dance floor,
Yeah,
but that's over. Like, that's already happened. Now your job is to bring them back. And
yeah,
that's the true measure of mastery, not how often you make mistakes, but how quickly you bounce back from your mistakes.
I know.
Um, all right. The one, oh yes. This is a question. How has the landscape in the DJ and produce in the dance music industry changed for women, from, let's say, when you started in the early 2000s to today?
Mhm. When I was starting, it was only a few names on the bill. They're still there. They're
Mhm.
still good.
Uh-huh.
And now it changed completely different, and which is really good because we were fighting for this. Now I'm really proud and happy to see female DJs in big lineups at a
Mhm.
festival. They're not the promoting DJ for a big super male star. So now they're playing the good slots, and now they get their attention on Beatport. They're doing the tracks, or so they're amazing to see this
Mhm.
development, and it's wonderful.
Excellent. Um, do you feel that let's see how I
But it's just one thing.
sure.
I mean, I was talking about this few female DJs that were there
Mhm.
when I was starting,
Mhm.
and they're still there. And of course, for us, it's quite difficult because we are now
Mhm.
in this certain age, because now we have to deal with all
Mhm.
these amazing talents, but they're
Mhm.
25 years younger. So
Mhm.
ageism is also and could be a problem
Mm.
for us
Mhm.
now, because I know we are all there, we are all very good,
Mhm.
and but of course, it's could be a point to get not booked anymore. We have to deal with this.
You think is this specifically to ageism across all genders or for women specifically? You're saying.
I only can talk about
Mhm.
myself,
Mhm.
and so for me, this is, because if I see a colleague in the same age than me, he get booked quite a lot because
Mm.
I can't, say this for him, but I think for women, this could be a problem, and, I just experienced this now.
Interesting. Do you see this as something that has room to improve itself? And, relatedly, how can the industry be rectified to fight against this type of problem?
Na ja, it's still, I think you still have, like I said before, you have to be authentic, you have to believe in music, in good music,
Mhm.
and, I think there could be more room.
Sure. Okay. And then last question, and this is you've already been mentoring me a little bit on this call, and I also run a mentorship program. Have you had any mentors, along your way as you've gone through your career, kind of
Of
guiding you, and what how have those relationships, helped you
mhm.
or hurt you?
Yeah. Now, of course, I was always lucky to have good friends,
Mhm.
and friends that were honest to me, and, they were telling me, "Oh my god, this was terrible, Anja," or they gave me advices not to sing, for example, which
Mhm.
was wonderful. Thank you. And of course, yeah, sometimes you need good friends, and of course, it's quite difficult when you have a certain success to have real friends. They're gonna not really, licking your ass all the time, so they
Mhm.
give you
Mhm.
also some advices which is good for you, and be honest. And of course, I have some idols. I have some really great, DJ idols, which is, of course, for me,
Mhm.
DJ Kotze, always,
Mhm.
because he's
Mhm.
German and he can mix any style, and it's you can't put him into a certain genre, and he is fantastic for me always since years. So, of course, I would say this is a big idol for me.
Sure. And I think, one thing to follow up on that is whether it's, your friends who you go to advice or industry contacts or even a formal mentor. One thing I always look out for when I start talking to people about music or asking feedback is, are they always saying something positive? Like, "Oh, this is amazing. Oh, this is a bomb," whatever. Or I always crave some critical feedback, because it's so easy to get surrounded by people who are just always telling you you're awesome. So I'm always looking for something which is like, if they tell me something I don't wanna hear, my ears perk up a little bit more, which is, "Oh, okay." Like, there might be some substance to this, and hopefully they're not saying all negative things all the time, but it's hard finding that honesty, and if you find someone who can really tell you like it is,
Mhm.
hold on to them as long as you can, I think.
Yeah, but these are only friends. I mean, this is not people from the industry, not
Right,
promoters,
right,
and, of
right.
course.
Mhm. Sure. Um, all right. Well, what do you say we start listening to some music?
I would love to listen to some music.
Okay, great. So the first one we have here, oops, let's get these windows lined up. The first one we have here is from James Fish. The first few tracks that we're going to listen to are from my Patreon supporters. We're not
Mhm.
going to make it to every track in the stream today that was submitted. We just don't have enough time. But anyone who's a supporter on Patreon gets bumped to the top of the queue. You can support me at patreon.com/Atish Music. So let's jump in right now to James Fish. Show how you. Oh, let me jump to the beginning here. Sorry about that. Here we go.
I'm just trying to show you how to put things together. And then I'm trying to make you conscious of rhythm. And I hope that you learn to put things together like this. See now, that's the way. That's the way you should try to play the piano. You know. That's the way you should try to solo. I'm just trying to show you how to put things together. And then I'm trying to make you conscious of rhythm. I hope that you learn to put things together like this. See now, that's the way. That's the way you should try to solve. Got nice legatos.
Oh.
Touch too. Touch too. Touch too. I'm just trying to show you how to put things together. And then I'm trying to make you conscious of rhythm. See now, that's the way. That's the way you should try to play the piano. That's the way. That's the way you should try to solo. With power. Let's play it to get one.
Ooh.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is.
All right. I'm going to pause it there.
Yeah, okay.
Let's just in the interest of time, let's say not too much happens in the outro.
Okay.
Do you want to go first, Anja, or should I go first?
You can start. I was talking about minimal already.
Overall, I like this. Really nice, spacey feel. The textures are nice. There's a few surprises in there, which I always like music that has surprises. And there's some small surprises, like just like really, really subtle stuff that most people don't notice. Like the way you bring in your snare drum, it doesn't happen right on the cycle of 16 bars. Um, your when the piano came in, it had some, I think, accidentals that we
Yeah.
didn't initially hear in the scale, earlier in the track. Like I love that the
Mhm.
break, that had a surprise. I wasn't
Mhm.
expecting to have a break like that. So really, really cool stuff.
Mhm.
All around, all around. My critical feedback would be one small critical feedback. When the vocal loop comes in, it comes in, or the vocal sample comes in, it comes in exactly the same time when a new melodic element comes
Mhm.
in.
Yeah.
It's a very minor thing, but it was I would just space those two out so my brain can process the new elements
Mhm.
coming in. That's a minor one. But I think the bigger thing is it can either happen in the mixing or maybe just arrangement
Mhm.
overall, which is there's a few points. I noted them down like 314, 343, 407, and 429, where it just felt really crowded in the mix
Mhm.
for me.
Mhm.
And I think you have your palette here, you have all the colors you need. I think the impact of this track can be even greater if you start pulling some elements away, either filtering them down or just seeing if you can get away with muting some parts,
Mhm.
because my brain was a little bit overstimulated at parts with just too much going on. So that would be my high level feedback.
Mhm.
I think you're at the 90% point, and the last 10% isn't how much you can add, but how much you can take away. Overall, I really liked it. This sounded great, and good
Yeah.
stuff, James. Anya?
Yes, I really liked it too. I had the same point with the vocal. It came in for me a little bit with too much other sounds, and I would reduce it a little bit. I would put a little bit more trippy things on it because it's sometimes
Mhm.
too glatt, how we say in Germany. It's too. I would keep it that it's a little bit more touchy, but this could be also a thing of the mixing when you reduce the other sounds, the melodic element, for example. And definitely, I like the last part a little bit more when it goes a little bit more trippy. He could go a little bit out of himself
Yeah.
and be a little bit more not aggressive, but pointed a little bit more into your little brain.
Excellent. Yeah, and the octopus on your brain as well.
Yeah, yeah. But overall, it's really good. It's really touchy. It's could be a little. It has this soul, but for me, even in the last part. So in the beginning, it was a little bit too classical. How we're gonna do a track with intro
Mm,
and then come this element and this. So I think you could be a little bit more, um, yeah, be more. Go out of yourself. Try a little bit more.
awesome. All right, thanks for the submission, James. Always love hearing stuff from you,
Super,
and
James. Yeah.
thanks for the support on Patreon as well. He's one of my artist mentees. This one is from and as a note, if any of you are tuned in while we're reviewing your demo, hang out in the Discord chat, and you can actually join in on video while we review your track if you have any follow-on questions or if you just want to say hello. So let's check out this track from DJ Ninja. This is El Ayun. tape delay there. I always love that.
Yeah, this.
All right, I'm just gonna jump forward a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think we have an idea of what's going on. Anja, I'll let you lead on this one.
Okay, I mean, everyone knows me, and with this, especially sound-wise, with these Oriental elements, is not my thing, first of all. But that means not that a track is great produced, because I was surprised how interesting she built it in, and not this obvious way, and played with this like I knew from other tracks. So it was really great produced. It's just not my taste with the Oriental thing. I really loved the toms in the beginning, and I missed him a little bit in the end because I'm a big Tom fan, but they were sounding a little bit too digital for the track, which gives a warm feeling, a more analog feeling. So I was missing this a little bit.
Got it. Cool. So overall for me, the first like 1-2 minutes, I'm in it. I'm like, this is dark. It's like spacey. It's like twisted. We have these like little like reverb delay things going on, like 10 out of 10 on ambience and vibe. And for me, and this could just be a reflection of my taste and the types of tracks that I play or sign, but it wasn't clear to me like what the musical idea of the track was. And you don't need like, you know, a catchy like pop hook necessarily, but kind of like a motif that melodically the track revolves around or comes back to. And I was just after 2 minutes, and especially through the end, and you know, we jumped through the end, like it lost my interest. And I'm just like, okay, like where are we going with this? So my one-liner is try and see if you can kind of bring together a musical idea. This isn't necessarily a hooky type track, it doesn't need to be, but an idea that melodically the track can revolve around. But overall, I think, like I said, the vibe and the feeling that it evoked in the first 2 minutes is 10 out of 10 for me. I like it a lot. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for the submission. Thanks for the support on Patreon.
Yeah, thank you.
We are going to jump to Dummy Splash. And he is going to join us on video. Let's try this out. Hello.
Hi.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good.
Wow.
All right. We're going to listen to your track. Here we go.
Okay.
All right. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah.
Cool. And then the percussion comes back. We go to the outro.
At least I got my toms now.
Cool. So I'll go first on this one, and we can alternate.
Okay.
So overall, this is an interesting one of those tracks where we have these which come up in streams from time to time where nothing feels wrong to me and everything feels fine. It feels like a produced track. It feels like all the elements are checked. The groove is good. It has a melodic motif, as what I was talking before. Structurally, it's arranged like a DJ track should be arranged. And this is where I probably give the worst feedback. This is a track where if I heard it on the dance floor, it'd be like, okay, cool. I'm not going to leave the dance floor. I'm not going to Shazam this track, but I would never, I wouldn't remember anything about it. And the reason why this is my worst feedback is it's really hard to kind of summarize in 30 seconds or a minute what it is that needs to be done. But that's where I am. Maybe Anja can flush out this idea more than I can, or maybe I'll think of a better way to articulate it. But I think the track is fine. I think all the elements are there. It just doesn't have that intangible thing that makes me remember. Maybe the hook isn't hooky enough. Maybe the texture doesn't feel alive enough, or it's not warping, or it could be trickier. But it feels like a well-produced track that would just kind of get forgotten within the rest of the pack. So I apologize for not giving you constructive feedback on there, but that's how I felt. Anja, maybe you could do a better job than me on this one.
Difficult, but first of all, a lot of respect that you join us live for that we all listen to your demo, because for me, after all these years, I hate to play my demo or first track when someone is listening, and even when a track is released, I hated to play it on the dance floor. So a lot of respect that you're joining us live and that you're with us now. It's really, I have to say, I have to follow Atish on this. It's really well produced. I read some comments. They said it's groovy. Yes, it's groovy, but I think it needs a little bit more things to carry the groove. There's underneath something. I mean, I love the toms. I love the rhythm. I love a little bit, shaking. It's all there, but it needs a little bit more underneath to carry the track through it. And of course, there were wonderful spacey elements in there. And you could tease them a little bit further on and say, there's something coming, and make it bring it on, make something that a track is remembered. And it could be the spacey elements, but you have to tease them maybe in advance. And this makes the track in the end maybe a little bit more groovy, but it's already groovy. It's well produced, and so much respect to join us live here. This is wonderful.
Yes. Doubling down what Anja said. Basically, I'm not going to repeat it, but yes, thanks for joining on video. It's really hard. I don't know if I would ever be able to do that. I just thought of an idea where maybe I could articulate a little bit better to hopefully give you something more constructive. And this is something that you've heard me say, or people tuned in have heard me say in a lot of other streams. Try to see if you can have your melodic elements and maybe even introduce a new melodic element or two. Maybe having a conversation with one another. I'm hearing that long legato lead sound, boom, 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 and that's just kind of sitting at the top of a mountain by himself. I don't know if you have a push or a keyboard, but you have a great bass line for a track, and then just play it maybe in loop mode and just jam on top of it. Try other textures, try other parts, do 100 takes, try, and just try and seeing how one other element can talk to that other element. And I think once the track is having a conversation with itself, then it'd be like, oh, okay, this is more memorable. I'm more engaged. And you can tell more of a story, and arrangement wise, a conversation can unfold and be a lot more engaging. So hopefully that's a little bit more helpful than my first round of feedback. Does that help at all, Ian?
Yeah, absolutely. I just appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate the candor.
Cool, man. All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you. Nice meeting you all.
Cheers.
All right. Moving on. Let me find my tab here. And thanks for the support on Patreon. We are going to jump to Snowden. Oh, what were we going to say, Anja?
No, nothing.
Oh, okay.
I'm answering the chat. The chat is very interesting.
Yeah. There's a lot going on. It's hard to keep up. But all right, let's jump to Snowden. This is Vorhanden.
Okay.
Woo!
Wow.
You already got my attention.
Mine too. Oh, here we go. It's my hi-hat. I love this.
Our heads bobbing, Brian. Nice.
Wow.
Nice, man.
It's super nice.
This is cool.
Well,
This is a journey.
yeah, absolutely.
Usually I fast forward by this part, but I want to see what's going to happen next. Let's wait for this break. And then... All right, we'll stop it there, just in the interest of time. But Anja, would you like to go first on this one?
Yes, I mean, there's not so much to say. We all see it in the chat. This
Yeah.
was well produced, and 100 or 1,000 points for the arrangements, because it was so full of different elements, and it was so well arranged and coming in so smoothly. So there was nothing where you were like surprised, or it was all really one package. It was wonderful, this track, really, really well produced. It's just that I'm not so with this trancy leads, but to make it like this and to combine also these melodies with this vocals, what you had, in the beginning, you think the track goes in a different direction, and then it changed completely and goes all like, and you're going back with a smile after this track. This is quite difficult, to let people smiling after a track. And this is definitely something what you remember, because also I didn't hear this combination so often, and this is something wonderful that you create something different there.
Yeah, I mean, just round of applause on this one. Really, really nice. Everything Anja said. Previous track, I'm like, that synth line can use, a conversation, having it with another part. But this one, you really showed how you can have one synth part and you can just squeeze so much out of it, the rhythm of it. Then you increase the release time just once. That one time you surprise us, and then you syncopate it, and then you slow it down, and then you do this. Like, this is a textbook example of how to get the most out of a single part. And I was never bored. I mean, you saw how late into the track that we listened, because I wanted to know what other tricks you had up your sleeve. The escalating bass line. It's really hard in dance tracks to have different chord progressions in your bass, and I usually never try to take that risk, but it's hard to do it, and you pull it off. I only have positive things to say. Just hats off.
Yeah,
excellent
super
track. Keep it up.
One question: are you German?
Oh, we can't hear you.
So.
Press S for settings, and then go audio. And
okay, don't worry.
Okay. You got 10 seconds. No, we lost. No, we can't hear.
Okay, we lost it. Okay, because the track have a German name, so you can let me know in the chat. So thank you. Wow, amazing. We will hear from you, definitely.
Awesome, man. Great stuff. Man, I love it when that happens. All right. Yeah. Let's jump to the next one. This one is
okay.
Is this the right one? Otora. I'm not even gonna try and pronounce that track title. So let's jump right in. just going to jump forward a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. Awesome.
Okay, let's jump forward.
Yeah.
All right. I think you led on this one. I'll go first on this one. I think this is I have very similar feedback to the track before the last one. Beautifully produced, really, really nice. I think the groove is good. It's actually mixed really well. You have very, very nice melodic elements. The cello solo is gorgeous. It's very beautiful. You did everything right here. But I think this would fall into the category. The difference between a good track and a great track is what is that intangible thing that would make me remember it. Again, maybe when Anya's speaking, I'll come up with an idea. But I think this is very, very solid. You should be proud of producing a solid track. The gap is what would make me come back to it or remember it, because I feel like there's already 5,000 tracks that have a beautiful violin, cello, whatever solo over a nice organic groove. So
Yeah.
this is me just being a real hard ass here, but I'm thinking from a label manager's perspective, why would I want to sign this? Is this contributing anything new to the conversation? So Anja?
Yeah, I'm quite similar in this opinion. And for me, the groove was solid, but unfortunately too boring. And the question was, is the cello or the violin, was it analog? Was it live? Because if, then you could maybe go a little bit more, push it a little bit more. And it was unfortunately too boring for me.
All right. So that's our thoughts on that one. But yeah, overall, it's a solid foundation, solid backbone, but just a little something to give it a little more spice would take it to the next level. But appreciate the submission, and the fundamentals are definitely there production wise. So very, very cool. All right. This next one is from Moon Watchers. I think he's going to join on video, and this is called Catamount. got some shakers going. Just gonna bounce forward a little bit more.
Yeah.
Oh, too much. All right, let's see where this goes.
Okay.
A new bass sound comes in.
Yeah.
Shakers. Cool. Snare comes back in.
Yeah.
Cool.
So-
All right. Did you go first last time, or did I go first last time?
I have no idea. I think you were the one.
Okay. I'll let you lead on this one then.
Yes, it's really also well produced. I have the feeling that the track could be better with a final mixing, with maybe better speaking. And I think mixing, there was some issues where we can get a little bit out of the track. It's solid, really solid, but also something. So if you're going to ask me 5 minutes later, I could not tell you what was in this track, but I still have the track in mind from Snowden, for example. So there was something missing for me.
Cool. Yeah, I liked the sound design. I liked it's interesting, almost like the cooking example. I liked all the ingredients that you
Mhm.
had laid out on the counter, but it felt like they were either mixed in wrong proportions or they were ingredients for different meals. I think beyond what I liked about it, the sound design and the general idea, I think to take it to the next level, the work is in part of it's the mixing, which Anja mentioned, but the arrangement. How can you how can you move this track to the next level, having all all the stimulation and all these elements kind of working together, going in a direction together, kind of like building together. I kind of feel like Love Over Entropy. I did a mentorship session with him once, and he was analyzing one of my tracks, and he was saying it feels like you're like driving through a bus, and there's just all these like different like stimulation things coming in. You can't really appreciate like the forest that you're in because I keep getting distracted by all this like stimulation here. So this is very abstract advice, but see if you can kind of have all your melodic ideas evolve together towards the climax, and also play with the art of removing elements. I think see how much you can mute, and maybe they'll create more space to reveal what the lead sound is and make it more memorable, as Anja mentioned. Also, just one small thing. I think the breakdown was a little bit too dramatic. Yeah, a little bit too long.
Especially for a radio person like me. When you think
dead air. Exactly. But yeah, lots of great sound design in there. I think you have everything in your palette to work with, and now it's putting them in the right order. And hopefully we can get video working next time. This next one, oops, I missed one. We'll come back to Maxi in a moment. Next track will be Maxi. This one is the 95th Minute by Jay Pi and Viridian. As a side note, I'll just take this as an opportunity to plug Viridian. We just finished our EP together on Manjumasi called Instant Transmission. It's available for pre-order now on vinyl, and the vinyl goes on sale, I think, April 30th. So pick that up if you want to add to your vinyl collection. And we may or may not do a digital release later in the year. All right, let's jump right in. JPi and Viridian. Oh, I thought that door creak was part of the track.
That's me.
Cool sound design. Ooh. Very dramatic.
Okay.
Cool. All right, I think we got a feel for what's going on.
Yeah.
Anja, you first, I think, or me first? I don't know.
Whatever. I mean, this was really great and catchy, and of course, a lot of great sounds in there. But for me, personal, there was too much. There was too much information. I lost the lead to follow. Actually, I love the acid vibe there, but then suddenly there was the bass line coming in completely different. So it was too much information for myself. So sometimes I need one lead sound and one lead going crazy, and then keep on this and keep everything more performing, not so much in the front. But it was for me a little bit too much. But
Cool.
great.
Overall sound design ace, and obviously one of the reasons I love working with you on REP is I think Viridian, you're an amazing sound designer. So excellent sound design. I think like the first 2 minutes 40 of the track, I was like appreciating the sound design, but I wasn't like hooked into the track. It was just like, oh, that's a cool sound, that's a cool sound. But on a dance floor, I mean, I was getting a little bit bored, and then the groove came in with the hi-hats and the kick. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, like, okay, it is a club tune, not just like an art track. So that was cool. The breakdown was like pretty dramatic, maybe a little too long for my taste, and then I felt let down.
Yeah, but I love the break, the dramatic. Oh, so I love the dramatic break, but then I was a little bit disappointed because otherwise, normally after such a dramatic announcement has to be something more.
Yeah,
and we heard it already, so
100%. Yeah, you beat me to it. If I had more of a refreshing feeling after the breakdown, then it would have felt like it was worth it. But yeah, the breakdown didn't feel like a payoff. But that's kind of what Anja said. I mean, the sound design is super cool.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me? No. So you can hear me still? Hello. Okay, we are very minimal today. So now we do it in German, yes? Okay. So I have to control over it. Okay, let's go. Now he's back. Sorry.
Test.
I wanted to take over.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Oh. Okay. Got it. All right, 1 second. Sorry about that. I just have to. I don't know what happened. My UAD. Oh, now I'm just using the other microphone. My UAD sound card just crashed.
Oh,
lucky me.
Do you have the demo still?
Yeah. Is my audio okay? Can you hear me? Or is this new microphone okay? Okay, cool. All right. Well, sorry about that, everyone. That's the fun of doing live. Okay, 1 second. Let me just switch to my headphones because it's coming through my MacBook speaker. External headphones. Okay, let's hope that we are back. All right, but Viridian, thanks for the submission. Overall, super cool sound design, and I think arrangement-wise, it could be tightened up and take it to the next level. Okay, sorry for the technical difficulties there. I just want to confirm everything is okay now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, let's jump to the next one. This is from Maxi Koenig, and this one is called Urban Breeze, and she's joining us on video. Hello.
Hey, Maxi.
All right, here we go.
Hi.
She got
I already like it.
I love it. It's my favorite already.
Yeah. It's like our first club tune, you know?
Yeah, got me.
Yeah, I know. Perfect groove.
Yes, it is my style. Super.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, super nice.
Breathe.
Ah, here's the vocal again.
Cool. All right, I'm just gonna jump a little bit.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Very cool track. The reason I was asking you, Maxi, if you heard about this through me or Anya, is I don't normally get tracks like this on my stream, and that's one of the reasons that I love having different guests. Is sometimes they bring their audience with that sound. So it was really refreshing to hear this sound on my stream because I also love playing this kind of music, and I think this is just my feedback is overall this is just a solid dub influenced grooving club tune. It doesn't try to do too much. It doesn't have to do too much. It's I think it checks the boxes really well. I think it's functional. It would work well. Maybe my only like minor critical feedback is there was some like organ or pad part before the first break. It felt a little buried in the mix. Maybe that could have been maybe by design, but overall I don't have a lot of critical feedback here. I just think it's a solid track. It would get me going on the dance floor. I would keep it in my prepared track list, and yeah, good stuff. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, for me, this was the first track which got me directly. I love it. I love all this hypnotic techno stuff. I loved the kick. It was sounding like an 808, more warm kick, which I really loved. I love the chords, which is a little bit more touching the Detroit sound, could be for me a little bit more, and the vocal, what you could hear in the beginning really shortly, could perform a little bit more often, or you can cut it or use it as a hypnotic vibe too, maybe, and then you can fill it in the break with how you did it. So I really love the track. It was for me my favorite. So Maxi, not Marie,
Yeah,
Maxi, was for me the best.
Awesome.
Cool.
Very
Thank you.
cool. And,
For me, really.
I wish we had more time to listen through, the track after the break. I'm curious if it would have kept my attention as much. But I think that could be an opportunity, as Anya said, to really especially after you've revealed the vocal sample or once again, that if you feel like the dance floor might be losing its attention, then you can juice that up to kind of keep that energy up and keep it fresh. So, but yeah, overall, super cool.
Good
Great,
ideas.
great
My
vibe,
favorite.
great
Danke. Max.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you are the winner.
Awesome.
Okay. This next one is from Juna. It's Inside Job. Let's jump right in.
Really loud, the claps, no?
Yeah. All right, let's see where it goes. All right, cool. Anja, what do you think?
Yeah, in the beginning, I thought it could be a track on Poker Flat, which was already released. For me, it was a little bit too sharp in the highs. So
Yeah.
I think I read some people said it was a great mixing. I think this was a little bit too too sharp, too hot. And then this lead sound, which was going before the break, was for me a little bit too boring because it needed an answer. This was,
Yeah.
and the break I really liked, but then it lost my attention again. Unfortunately, there was nothing what catched me.
Yeah, I think my feedback. I pretty much agree with all her points. Yeah, Wonder. Yeah, high frequencies. I think there's a good foundation here. Just extending Anja's point, I think having a conversation with one another can take it to the next level. I'm not sure, Juna, if you're familiar with Brian Sid. There were some synth elements that you had that had some kind of Brian synth textures, and you had a lot of things kind of going in and out melodically. Maybe listen to some of his stuff as a reference. He has a lot of nice interplay with melodic elements. Maybe the bass. I wonder how the track would feel if you filtered down that dum 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 that. Actually, no, I was thinking about maybe filtering down the bass a little bit, but I think that's actually just a function. I disagree. Maybe that, or maybe that was just a function of me feeling like the highs were really harsh. But I think the first place to start is with the mixing. Try and have a conversation with the elements. But overall, I think you have a solid foundation to work with this one. But yeah, it just didn't fully keep me engaged the whole time. So, but appreciate the submission. And let's jump on to the next one. This is from Mjan and Balalywood, who are actually two friends of mine. The category is generic dance. All right, here we go.
Here we go with the toms again. I like it. A little bit that hard rock meets organic sound.
Yeah.
Now it's getting funny.
Yeah, I just have to give my ears a break. I think we'll talk about the mixing in a second. It
was so good in the beginning, and it had the toms. It was so groovy. I felt like, okay, I got it, and then it was like,
yeah. I just had
to
give
suddenly hard rocker from the 70s coming in.
Yeah. All right, let's
very solid.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what happens in the break. And then let's give the full feedback. I just had to give my ears a little break because it was really, really harsh in my ears. But Yeah.
Oh, I love this part before.
Okay, cool.
So there's everything what you can do in there, huh?
Yeah. There's a lot. Okay, I think I'll start with this one. So I'm a little biased because I know their style. As I've been following their
Okay.
music. It's hard to give feedback on this one because I think both of you are doing your own thing, which is really really cool. I mean, I think it's hard to do your own thing when, with a lot of the Bollywood sampling and old South Asian film sampling. So I'm not going to give feedback on this from the point of view of a classic house track because you're doing your own thing. But I love
Mhm.
what you're going for artistically, which is it has like an organic house feel at first, and then it has these samples in there, and it's like using the
Mhm.
samples in a unique way. My only feedback on this is why I had to pause it is just the mix down. I think part of it's the mix down and part of the arrangement. There's a lot of ideas,
Mhm.
from arrangement wise, a lot of ideas happening through the track, which is okay. I'm okay with that if that's what you're trying to do stylistically. But also at points, there's a lot of ideas happening at the same time,
Mhm.
and they're stepping on top of each other. So it's really hard for me just to keep up with what's going on and to pay attention to the musical ideas. And then eventually, I mean, I had to pause the track just to give my ears a break and also to give my
Mhm.
brain a break because there's just so much
So much.
stimulation. But you guys like keep doing what you're doing. I mean, the way you're approaching, track arrangement and track ideas is super unique, and it's hard to be unique right now in the industry. But I think to keep the maximum number of people engaged, the devil is in the mix work.
Mhm. Yeah, I definitely agree. And there was brilliant ideas. So for me, it was kind of a journey. I saw pictures in my head. I've been to several films, but it was a little bit too much. It was too much information, and the break we needed it. But great elements, great ideas. But I love if someone is different, but this was too much, and it was shown me a little bit. I want to be different, and I think they can be different in easy
Mm,
ways.
mm.
And really love this and great ideas, but reduce it a little bit. Give
Uh,
every idea a chance, and then brilliant.
cool. Awesome. Excellent. Well, whoops.
Okay.
Well, thanks for the submission, guys. Bilal, always love hearing from you. He's one of my dearest friends. Such a great
Okay.
guy. He's also known as the fake Atish or the real Atish. People confuse us at parties all the time. So I always have a stand-in if I need someone to DJ if I have to go to the bathroom. So, all right. Let's let's do, maybe we have time for two more. And then we'll call it a night. Does that work for you, Anja?
This works brilliant.
Okay. This is the Yard Woman, called Demo.
Very nice sounds.
Mhm. Oh, Ganita's here.
Hello, Gonita.
Our booking agent.
Hello. We miss you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have entered the main
The main
room.
stage. We are
Yeah.
now. We have. Hmm. read Okay.
So should I ask me to jump forward?
Yeah.
Were you saying to end it? I couldn't really.
No, I was like, the main room.
There we go. Yeah.
I love this comment.
All right, cool. Get those CO2 cannons ready. Exactly.
So yeah, this was really main room, huh?
Yeah. I'll let you go first on this one.
Thank you. No, actually, well produced, absolutely brilliant, and there's nothing to say on technical side, but it felt like that I heard this track like 100 times before. It was like a track from a book, the break comes on the right time. There was nothing what I can say then what was unique. I would love to have an idea what was the idea of the track and what makes it special. So I think for me it was too much that you love a track, that you love the DJ or producer, and nothing unfortunately unique, but it was well produced, and I would love that you leave your inner devil out and create something wild.
Yeah. I don't
Yes,
have
I know.
to add.
It's hard to make something new. I know.
Yeah.
I know, especially if you're going out since years or you love someone and you love a special sound. I know this is the really hardest part, and to risk something and to do something what maybe some people would not like, because people would love this track. If you can play it on every main stage, it will work, definitely. But for me, I always searching for something unique, something where I get surprised.
Yep. I agree with everything she said. The one thing I'll just say is, okay, you have the foundation. You obviously have the technical skills. Now start taking some risks.
Yeah.
Like, do something that makes you uncomfortable. Just try something out, and that's how to take it to the next level.
But I'm sure this track gonna get signed somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, it's signable. Totally signable. Totally
Absolutely.
playable. We are giving feedback from a.
Yeah.
You are a level above. We're giving feedback
Personal.
at the level of there's nothing. Yeah. So 100%. It's solid, perfect. Technically, now push yourself to the next level to really get to the soul of what you're trying to say, which probably is different than what everyone else is doing, because you're a unique individual like all of us.
Yeah.
All right, this will be the last one. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Let's hear this one from Mambo, who is going to join in on the stream right here.
Oh, hi.
And here we go.
Oh. I like this crazy parts there.
Yeah, I'm wondering where this is gonna go.
But it got my attention directly.
Yeah.
I like this.
Interesting.
Oh. Yes. Here we go. Oh, it's really nice. The perfect closing track, actually.
Yeah, this is a nice,
so
smooth
cool
vibe to leave us off.
And then you go home and smile.
Alright, I'm just gonna jump into the.
Yeah. Oh, yep. Ah, there we go. Oh, I like this part very much.
I'm gonna listen all the way through the break on this one.
Yeah, of course.
Just has this like
like
classic
this.
feel to it. This old
Yeah.
early 2000s, maybe even
Yeah.
90s feel.
No. More back.
90s, yeah.
And I like this, cut it. Okay, now you got me 100%.
All right, there comes the snare and the bass. Cool. Cool. Nice.
Wow.
All right.
Deeper than this is nothing, I guess.
Hey, Mambo, question for you. How long have you been into house music? Oh, we can't hear. I'm just curious. Can you answer in the chat? Just curious how long you've been listening to house music, because I hear a history in the music. But in the meantime, 20 years mixing. Okay.
Ach so. All right.
There it is. Yeah, I mean, so my thoughts on it, it's interesting because I think if there was someone new to the scene who's been listening to house music or tech house, or even a new producer, and they came and they heard this, they would say, this is undeveloped. Like, where's all the whooshes and all the drops and all this kind of thing. But I think now, especially knowing that you've been doing this for 20 years, I understand this as a reference to, or a nod to your roots, or the roots of how like original, like deep house was deep. It didn't do a lot. It had soulful sounds, had jazzy chords. It was just simple, stripped down, like groovy music. And you don't hear much of that coming out anymore. I think part of, styles and tastes have changed, but I think also today's audiences are just wanting tons of stimulation. So this was refreshing to hear, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, for me, absolutely great. You got me directly with the crazy beginning, and then you cut it and make it a little bit hypnotic, and it was so groovy. Wonderful. I loved it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Absolutely class. And I was always wondering, is there a vocal coming? But there's a vocal. But in the end, it was not the vocal missing. So it needed another vocal. Sometimes people add a vocal to catch it in, but I could still have it in my mind without a vocal. There's not this memorable moment what I was missing. It was great. So it's really like a absolutely positive vibe track, and it's so well produced. It's because it's really hard to make. It's so simple and groovy. Wonderful.
Awesome. Well, great note to end on. Thanks for the submission, and Mambo, appreciate your support. We were just emailing, and you showed me a photo. He was holding the last record I released. So appreciate your support on all fronts. Appreciate the submission. Appreciate the high note. And lastly, Anja, I appreciate you, and we all appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your ears. Thank you for everything you've contributed to the industry. I hope you had a nice time.
Yeah, thank you all of you for being with us, and especially for the people who are sending the music and be on video with us, because I said it before, it was like, for me, it's always like a big thing to play new music for someone new.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you. And, just to add to that point, I didn't make it. I didn't make it through all the submissions today, but even the fact that you just submitted a track alone and put yourself out there, that's a victory in itself. I'm going to do the next one in 2 months. I'm taking May off. I'm going to switch to an alternating month schedule just to reduce my workload a little bit. In June, we're going to have a Nammer. And if you want to guarantee that you'll get a spot on the next live stream, you can support me at patreon.com/Atish Music. And be sure, if you're on the West Coast or anywhere in the world, to check out Anja Schneider and I will both be playing at Desert Hearts, separate time slots, but we'll both be playing the festival that's next weekend just outside Los Angeles. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and hope to catch you next time.
See you
Bye.
all on Desert Hearts, and you fall. Tschüss.
Bye.